Hi, I'm Rich Torrey. Welcome to another Level Up Cartooning. All you ever need to follow along with me is a pencil and paper. It doesn't get any easier than that, right? Now, before we get started, make sure you hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button as it helps this channel to grow, and hit the bell so you never miss a lesson. So if you've been with me in the last few weeks, then you know our little dive into some of the early TV anime stars was interrupted by a few weeks of celebrating the 30th anniversary of Disney's A Goofy Movie. And I wanted to get back to it, at least for now, by drawing the character that most represented the follow-up to the original Dragon Ball, which of course was Dragon Ball Z, first airing in Japan in 1989, and then its first dubbed incarnation here in the US in 1996, which was then relaunched on Cartoon Network's Toonami in 1998. And that character is the Super Saiyan version of Goku. And I believe I am correct in my pronunciation, Saiyan, or Saiyajin, not Saiyan, as the root of the name Saiyan comes from the Japanese word for vegetable, which I believe is yasai. I don't know, I'm trying. Also, I drew the everyday version of Goku from Dragon Ball Z about a year ago. If you want to draw him, I'll put the link to that below. And finally, one fun fact about the Super Saiyan version of Goku. The blonde hair wasn't just a dramatic visual choice. It was partly a time-saving measure. Shading in Goku's hair in the manga version takes considerable time, and Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama's decision to make the hair of the Super Saiyan version of Goku blonde meant that manga artists no longer had to shade in Goku's hair because it was light, which sped up the production. So now you know. Anyway, let's draw. We're going to draw Super Saiyan Goku step by step, giving you the secret formula to be able to draw him again and again. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know I normally use the character's head to figure out how big the entire character is. In this pose, Goku is just about 7 heads tall. In other words, however tall his head is, his entire body is about 7 of those tall, with his crazy hair sticking up another half head tall above him. Okay, so what do you say we get started with our roadmap for Super Saiyan Goku from Dragon Ball Z? So there's our roadmap for Super Saiyan Goku. Now before we go on to step 2, I want to give you the layout of our hero, using simple shapes for those of you who want to screen grab. Just something to help you when laying out your drawing of the Super Saiyan version of Goku. Okay, so now we're on to step 2. In this step, we do what I call roughing out the features. I want to remind you that until the third and final step, you want to draw as light as possible. You'll see that I use guidelines to help me to position Goku's eyes, nose, mouth, body, and some of the other features. We don't want those guidelines in the final drawing, so you want to draw them light enough to be able to erase them easily. Okay, so let's rough out the features for our drawing of Super Saiyan Goku. Okay, so they're the roughed out features of Super Saiyan Goku. So now with the roadmap done and the features roughed out, it's time for that final step. In step 3, we get to have fun. We get to draw in the final details of Goku, the Super Saiyan version. We don't have to guess where to put things because we've already done all the hard work to figure that out. Now would be the time to take a moment and look at your drawing while it's still lightly sketched out and fix or change things before you commit that drawing to those final lines. But even after you begin those final lines, you should still be thinking about how you might improve your drawing of Super Saiyan Goku all the way until the very end. Okay? So what do you say we draw the details for Son Goku Super Saiyan version? And that's how you do it. There you have it, from Akira Toriyama's Dragon Ball Z, Super Saiyan Goku. So how do you think you did? Understand, if you've never drawn any version of Goku before, Super Saiyan or otherwise, then you can't expect to have drawn him perfectly. You notice I don't spend time coloring a drawing of Super Saiyan Goku during this video because I want my lessons to focus solely on the drawing process. But now you have the secret formula, the process for drawing the Super Saiyan version of Goku. And with that you can draw him again and again. And by all means color him when you're done. And remember to look for the link below for the video on drawing both the everyday version of Goku from Dragon Ball Z as well as the original Dragon Ball version of young Goku. I promise each time you draw Goku, it'll be a little better and a little easier. I also promise the more you work with me, the better you're going to get at all of your cartoon characters. So I'd love to see your drawing of Super Saiyan Goku. If you can, take a picture and post it on either Facebook or Instagram, and don't forget to include the hashtag #LevelUpCartooning. I hope you had as much fun as I did with this one. Remember to subscribe, and thanks for joining me. Until next time, keep drawing, my friends.